Welcome to Who Yelling Now, Season 4, Episode 7, titled When Forgetting Becomes Policy. Copyright Mackenzie. What is a policy? Most people hear the word policy and think paperwork, rules, guidelines, fine print. We imagine policy as something distant, something printed in a binder, something debated in a room we have never been inside, something voted on by people whose names we half remember. Policy sounds official, stable, necessary. It feels grown up, responsible. Policy feels like order. But asking the average citizen what a policy is, and you'll get something like this. It's just how things are done. It's procedure. It's a protocol. It's not personal. And that's the comfort policy lives in. Policy doesn't shout. Policy doesn't bleed. Policy doesn't look like harm. It looks like process. But what if policy is simply the organized version of forgetting? What if it is memory managed? Here is my poetic version of policy, titled The Policy of Policies. My policy, your policy, his policy, her policy. None of them are our policy. My policy says, I was busy. Your policy says, you were tired. His policy says, it was classified. Her policy says, it was complicated. Their policies say, we follow protocol. The policy of policies is to look neutral, to sound reasonable, to avoid the word why. The policy of policies is to reduce the messy into bullet points, to turn outrage into procedure, to turn harm into Section 4, subsection B. My policy protects me. Your policy protects you. His policy protects the brand. Her policy protects the narrative. But the policy of policies protect itself. And once something protects itself long enough, it no longer needs to explain anything at all. My dearest listeners, policies feels distant until you work inside it, until you are asked to enforce it, until your name signs the bottom of it. That's when policy stops being abstract. That's when policy becomes personal. Let me tell you a story of my friend Miranda. She worked in a building that has no windows. That's not metaphor. That's architectural. Climate control. Security cleared. Public trust classification. And that's what they call it: public trust. She process historical records. She do not destroy them. She do not burn them. She do not shred them. She relocates them, reclassifying them, adjust accessibility tiers, add embargo periods, flag sensitivity review. Everything is procedural. Nothing looks violent. The first time it happened, it was small. A set of documents tied to a decades-old land dispute. Technically resolved, legally settled. But the archive testimony contradicted the public narrative. She was instructed to move the file from general access to restricted review. Reason code: ongoing sensitivity. There is no ongoing sensitivity, only ongoing consequence. She asked her supervisor lightly, "Is this temporary?" Her supervisor smiled and replied, "Hon, everything is temporary." You learn quickly that in institutions, temporary can mean general knowledge, generalization, until next time. Miranda do what most of us do. We're not quite sure, but it doesn't sit right. So she asked her girlfriend, her best girlfriend, Tasha, who works in healthcare. Tasha deals in life and death daily. Miranda's job deals in memory. Miranda said to Tasha, "They're not deleting anything. They're just moving things." Tasha said, "Moving them where?" She responded with a laugh, "Into darkness, but politely." Silence followed. Then Tasha asked, "Does it change anything?" Miranda said, "Yes." How? It delays access. It shifts context. It forces researchers to apply. It discourages casual discovery. Tasha said, "So it controls who gets to remember?" Miranda didn't answer because that was exactly it. Miranda told her about the next file that she handled the day before. A reporting document, civilian casualties during an operation that had since been reframed as stabilizing. The public summary said, "Minimal impact." The archive footage said otherwise. The instruction was simple: reclassify under national integrity preservation. National integrity preservation, that phrase sat in my chest like ice, said Miranda. Tasha asked what most people would ask. Maybe there's a context you don't see. Maybe it's for security. Maybe it's complicated. She wasn't defending them. She was protecting me, protecting her, protecting Miranda, and the people she don't even know by calling in perspective. Because once you name something as wrong, you have to decide who you are. Miranda began asking herself questions she never thought she'd asked. What am I a part of? If I comply, am I preserving order or erasing harm? Who benefits from this relocation? Who is harmed by the delay? If a document exists but cannot be accessed, does it exist publicly? If truth is technically preserved but practically hidden, is it truth? She thought about whistleblowing. Then she thought about her mortgage, her student loans, her mother's medical bills. Public trust clearance means investigation, means scrutiny, means being labeled. She imagined headlines. Former employee claims record manipulation. But nothing is destroyed. Nothing illegal. Just adjusted. The system is smart. It never asks you to break the law. It asks you to reinterpret compliance. There was one file that broke Miranda. Testimony from a group that had been displaced generations ago. Their land officially recorded as unused territory. The internal memos showed awareness. They knew the language was precise. Relocation necessary for strategic continuity. Strategic continuity. She was instructed to shift the file under cultural reconciliation review, which meant it would be acknowledged ceremonially, studied academically, referenced abstractly, but not actionable. She asked her friend Tasha at another dinner meeting, "Hey Tasha, if history looks back at this period, what will it say about people like me?" Tasha didn't answer immediately. Then finally she said, "It depends on whether you stayed." My dearest listener, fellow yellers, the truth is not deleted. It is delayed. It is diluted. It is buried under process. Forgetting is rarely fire. It is filing. It is classification. It is access control. It is budget allocation. It is redaction. It is policy. When Miranda moves a file, she is not burning it. She is moving the weight of it from present to future. And the future may never come looking. Sometimes she sits alone in that windowless room and wonder if enough of us comply quietly. Does forgetting become infrastructure? If enough of us hesitate, does amnesia become national character? If enough of us tell ourselves this is procedural, does harm become permanent? Public trust. That's what Miranda's clearance says. Public trust. But whose trust is she protecting? When forgetting becomes policy, it no longer requires dinners. It requires documentation. And documentation is harder to argue with. Here is a policy poem for your deep thoughts. I call it reclassification. Stamped, not burned. Not broken, not erased. Stamped. Move from visible to conditional. Move from public to permitted. Buried without dirt. Lowered into ceremony. Labeled pending review. Security adjustment, national interest. And just like that, the truth still breathes, but no one can find its lungs. So, all of us Mirandas, we sit at our desk. The file is open. The directive is clear. Reclassify, delay, restrict. No laws broken. No pages torn. No flames. Just silence. Engineered. Just like Miranda, she thinks, we thinks, he thinks about Tasha's question. It depends on whether you stayed. What does history say about those who complied? Does it remember their names, or does it classify them too? We all hover over the system. One click, that's all it takes. Not to destroy, just to move. And sometimes moving is enough. Are we protecting public trust or betraying it? Is whistleblowing bravery or arrogance? Is silence survival or surrender? The system does not tremble. It does not threaten. It simply waits. Because it knows something that we are all still learning. Most people do not burn the archive. They file it. And filing feels clean. If forgetting becomes policy, what becomes of the people inside it? Like Miranda, most of us have not yet decided. And that may be the most dangerous part. Here is a national poem for you to sip your drink by. I call it national integrity. How national is my nation's integrity? Is it rooted or merely suited? Is it carved in stone or sprayed in tone? Is it honest in daylight or tidy at night? You say integrity, I see landscaping. Gritty foundations covered in flowers, trimmed hedges over unmarked hours. Does it stand or does it brand? Does it hold or does it fold? Tell Tell me, is integrity the courage to reveal the fracture or the discipline to keep the camera steady? How national is my nation's integrity? Or is it only gritty with flowers intertwined so it appears well to your insight? This has been Who's Yelling Now? See you in the next episode.